If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key, and that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
How did you get started in acting?
Well, I was like 9 years old, and every weekend or so, me and my parents would watch a movie, and for some reason I'd pick whichever character in the movie, any character in the movie, and I would do exactly what they did throughout the movie. Just I thought it was fun for some reason. For some reason, I just thought it was fun to do. I usually picked the person who had the most action scenes because who doesn't want to do that?
Right.
And then one day I came out of my room and I said I want to be an actor, and my parents were like, okay, don't really know how to go about doing that. And I signed up for some acting classes that were in the area. I got an agent, started getting auditions, and I booked my first project when I was 11. It was 2014. Yep. So, yeah.
And that first project on your IMDb page is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
My first project, like speaking role project. Yeah, I did. Right. Yeah. Not to me, it doesn't. I mean, that was my, one of my first set experiences, which, it's a very great place to start being an extra, because you learn all the terminology that they use on set, and you learn how everything works there. And then by the time you get a speaking role, you're prepared. You know how it all works. So, but yeah, my first project I did was a movie by the name of Impact Earth. And that unfortunately never released in the U.S. I don't think it will, but it was a great starting place. And I worked with some really cool people. So.
And then obviously you moved on to what I would assume most people know you from. If you're walking down the street, people probably go to the other side of the street because you're the big bad bully from Stranger Things, where you play Troy. Kind of tell me about what that was like. What the atmosphere was like on set.
Well, the audition process for Stranger Things was a long one. I was like 12 years old, and I got an audition for some weird little show called Montauk, and for the role of Mike, and who's the lead in Stranger Things. And I apparently was not nerdy enough, which, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. And then I got an audition probably about a month later for the role of James, who was my bully sidekick. And then I got sent another audition for the role of Troy. And then after that, I got a call back in Atlanta. And, within a few days, I found out that I booked it. And this whole process was probably, spanned over a few months. So it was, they really, they made you wait and work for it. And then, I booked it, and it was great. Being on set was amazing. The cast, everyone was hilarious, amazing people there. and the crew as well. They treat you like royalty, and I'll never get used to it. It's so amazing.
And so, obviously, it's become kind of a pop culture phenomenon. It took 2016 by storm. You know that. I know that. It's, Stranger Things 2 now. Any little tidbit of information comes out and the internet goes completely bananas. When you were on set with, the Duffer Brothers and the rest of the cast, was there any kind of sense that you guys were making something that would be one of the year's kind of biggest hits? Or was it kind of, we're just working on this little interesting kind of quirky show?
I'd say it was more the latter. And, we knew it was a good show because, we read the scripts, we did the scenes, and we were like, the show is going to be amazing. We just don't know how many people are going to watch it. And then, it came out, and within a few days, it blew up and everyone was watching it. And I gained tons of Instagram followers, and it was crazy. We just didn't expect it to be that huge. But we did know it would be good. We knew it would be something special. We just didn't know how many people would watch it and enjoy it.
Kind of what was it like working with the co-stars your own age and then working with, some of the other co-stars, or being on set with some of your adult co-stars?
Well, working with the kids was always super exciting, because Gaten, especially, who plays Dustin on the show, he was just hilarious. Everyone was great, and as soon as they yelled cut, we'd joke around, and it was great. And it was really just fun times. I always looked forward to the next time I got to be on set. As for the adults, I didn't really get to work with them much besides episode 7. I got to work with David Harbour for the scene in the police station, and that he's one of those actors who stayed in character. And when I was on set, I didn't think he was the nicest guy, but that's because he was staying in character. And at the premiere for the show, he came and he patted me on the back. He was like, "Nice work, dude." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And he actually is. He's a very nice dude. He's really great. And I recall him saying in an interview once that he purposely did not get close to any of the kids because he knew that in the show, the kids were more of an annoyance to him than anything else. And, he was just a great guy in general. He's actually really nice. And, but yeah, in terms of the other adults, I didn't really get to work with them much, unfortunately, but hopefully in the future that'll happen.
Kind of, if there's one thing that sticks out to you as like a special memory or something that, something from the set that you remember as being particularly memorable, does anything stick out to you?
This is an answer it's a question I've been asked a lot, but there's so many good memories. I try and give something different every time. I've never mentioned this one. We were hanging out. We had shot pretty much all our scenes for the day. We were just kind of getting our school in. So once that was done, we could leave. And, it was like a break time and we were getting some snacks. And, one of the crew members comes up and he has this drone, and we were like, "Dude, can we fly it?" And he was like, "Yeah, bro." And we were flying it, and it was going through the woods and stuff, and it was awesome. And that was great. That was great fun, especially because we had a trailer full of snacks right next to us. So.
Of all the interviews I've ever done, and I don't know how many at this point, I have never had an actor mention catering. Never once. How much?
Never?
Never. I've never had an actor mention how much they like catering.
It was amazing. It was so good. They literally had a trailer with stuff on every shelf, in every cabinet, in every drawer that you opened, there was more food. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. I even posted about it on my Instagram one time. It was so amazing. There was so many, just so much candy. And I probably shouldn't have ate it all, but I did.
Yeah, you're the first ever to mention catering or the concept of being on set and constantly being able to just go get something to eat. So that's a completely that's a first for me. But maybe it's because you're also the youngest actor I've ever interviewed, so I'm assuming maybe at some point actors are just like, catering.
Yeah. Me, when I see a drawer full of candy, I get pretty excited about it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm almost twice your age, and I'm in the same boat. If someone's like, "Here's some free food," yeah, what do you need from me? So the show wraps so it would have wrapped in 2015?
It wraps early 2016.
Okay, and it comes out, and like you said, they're huge. kind of reaction to it. You mentioned your Instagram blew up with all kinds of followers. Kind of, other than that, like, what was it like pre-Stranger Things, your career, and now post-Stranger Things, in between Stranger Things 1 and 2? Obviously, now that we know that Stranger Things 2 is coming out later this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, before Stranger Things, I was still very fortunate. I got plenty of auditions. I came close to booking a few roles here and there. And then, after Stranger Things, it just opened up so many new opportunities for bigger roles in other projects. And, now I'm going to these Comic-Con conventions and people literally pay to get my autograph and take a picture with me, which is so crazy. I never would have dreamed of that happening. And I just get to meet all these fans, and it's ridiculous. And it's just, before Stranger Things, it was like, I had my group of friends that I hung out with all the time. And then I had maybe 1 or 2 auditions a week. And now it's crazy. It's actually just ridiculous. That's the only word I can use to describe it.
How do you balance your personal life with your acting and with your academics, with your school and everything? How do you manage all of that?
In terms of like, hanging out with friends and stuff, me and my parents both think it's a good idea that sometimes, I need to take a step back and hang out with some friends and get a break. So, I'm still a kid, 14. If I'm not hanging out with friends, it's just not normal, and, yeah. I like to still have that, that normal part of my life that, I hang out with friends and stuff. And then when it comes to school, I'll be doing like a virtual homeschool program, next year for the first time. And, that'll just be a lot easier because I get to, I don't have to worry about communicating with teachers, and, it's so easy to just travel with it and it's all there. And, before that though, like last year, I went to a private school, and, all my teachers were very much cooperative, and, their attitude towards it was, as long as I got my...
Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice, and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Work done. I don't need to be there sitting in my desk doing the work. I missed like 7 weeks of school total, and I got all the work done, and that was fine. They sent me my assignments, and it really it depends on your school, I guess, how cooperative your teachers and the administration will be. I was very fortunate with that.
But I mean, in your personal life and, going out and all that, it's still relatively normal, is sort of.
I choose to surround myself with people that don't want to just hang out with me because I'm in Stranger Things,
Right. I
hang out with my real friends, and so when we hang out and stuff, the topic usually barely comes up. We're just 14-year-old kids hanging out. So it's actually it's very normal, and I really enjoy it.
Have you kept in touch with any of your castmates from the show?
We talk every now and then, not as often as we used to, but we do keep in touch.
Okay. And so, now that, the cat's out of the bag, Stranger Things 2 is premiering later this year. What was it like coming back and working with the cast a second time around?
Well, here's the thing. I didn't. Troy is Unfortunately, not in season 2, but we don't know what season 3 brings. And, I haven't seen the cast since the premiere of the first season. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens in season 3. If there is a season 3, we don't even know yet. But assuming there is, we'll just have to see what direction it goes in. But, if Troy is in season 3, I can't wait to be back and work on the show and hang out with the kids again.
Kind of moving away from Stranger Things. Something that you are in for a new season and the first premiere of the show, Mr. Mercedes.
Yes. Yes.
Stephen King, based off the Stephen King book. What was it like working on that show versus Stranger Things versus anything else you've ever worked on?
Well, working on that show, it was very fun. I was there. We were filming in South Carolina. I was there for like 2 weeks, and I wasn't on set every day. So most of the time I was exploring Charleston, South Carolina. And but in terms of being on set, the crew was just as amazing as the crew on Stranger Things. And not only that, but there are so many accomplished actors in that show. It was a blast to work with. I have some really great scenes. The director, Jack Bender, very, very popular director, and he was amazing to work with. Also David E. Kelley, the writer, super amazing writer. And just the fact that I was in a Stephen King show was it's mind-boggling. It's so amazing. But my role, I play the role of Danny Wilcox, he's like a neighborhood kid that has some interactions with Brendan Gleeson, who plays Detective Bill Hodges, the lead in the show. And so that was, it was great having scenes with him. He's a very amazing actor. And, overall, it was just a really fun experience.
Kind of who would you say are some of your people that you're influenced by as an actor? I mean, getting to work opposite Brendan Gleeson is obviously, that's amazing. So is there anyone else that you kind of look at or emulate or draw inspiration from?
I'd say just the various acting coaches I've had over the years and that I still work with. When it comes down to it, they were the ones who originally taught me how to act. Mm-hmm. And they still coach me today, and it's amazing. I make sure to have several of them so that I can blend all their acting styles into one and have my own style. And it's just my acting coaches were just great, and they're really what I draw from when I do my job. And also, I'd say in terms of A-listers, Robert Downey Jr., great guy. I wish dude, if I get to meet Robert Downey Jr., there's not many things I fangirl over or freak out about, but that would be one of them. Because he went through a bad time in his life, of course, but then he made it out of that, and now he's freaking Iron Man, and he's making $20 million a movie, and everyone knows who he is. It's crazy. And it's just the fact that you could go from such a bad place to being pretty much on top of the world as he is, pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, among actors, and yourself included, is kind of the sentiment that and this is Robert Downey Jr. related, is what is the pinnacle of being an actor now in Hollywood? Is it working on a Marvel film? Is it working on your own TV show as the lead on not a reoccurring, but a starring main cast member role? For you, what is kind of what your mountaintop is right now? As
of right now, being a 14-year-old boy, I'd say being any superhero, especially Spider-Man, freaking Tom Holland, He's a 21-year-old guy. Come on, there's 14-year-old actors out there they could have cast. Come on, right?
I'm just saying, he looks like a 14-year-old, but he's 21.
But yeah, being in a superhero movie and just being able to be a superhero that would be a dream come true. It'd be amazing.
As an actor, as someone who's currently, auditioning for roles, how often do you now post Stranger Things? How often are you said you are auditioning more often now than you were before Stranger Things? Yeah,
auditioning, it can be very weird. You can go a month or even 2 without one audition, and then you can have a week where you have an audition every day. It's just crazy. It's always very random. But, the auditions that I get are usually for bigger projects now that I was in Stranger Things. And, most of my auditions are are taped because they come from Los Angeles or Atlanta, and I live in New Orleans. And, so that I tape it and I send it and I tape it with one of my acting coaches. So it's just like doing a scene with them. It's not that nerve wracking, but when you're live, when you're in a live audition, it's definitely it's a whole different vibe. It definitely gets your nerves up.
Right now, what are you working on? What does the future hold for you? What does your 2017, 2018 look like? If you can talk about any of it, obviously. You might not be able to.
Yes. I got a movie coming out early 2018 called The Darkest Minds, which is based off of a book by Alexander Bracken. And it's about like this disease that kills like 98% of America's population. But for some reason, these teenagers, mostly teenagers, get these superpowers, and their type of power is color coded for some odd reason. And they're put in these in prison camps. And, it's about this group of teenagers that break out of the prison camp, and they go off and have their little adventures. And my role is part of this group that they run into along the way to cause them some trouble. Unfortunately, I can't say much more than that. But interesting fact, one of the producers on that movie, Sean Levy, actually produced Stranger Things. So that was pretty cool, getting to work for him again. Let's see. Besides The Darkest Minds, I have a movie that'll be hopefully airing later this year on the Lifetime Network called River Runs Red. And that's about like this group of siblings who, after their parents' death, start seeing things for some reason. And so they move away, but it only gets worse. And again, I wish I could say more, but I really can't. And my role in that is one of the siblings, the youngest one. And then I did a short film called Stick Up, which I play the lead in, and it's about this kid who, he has this abusive stepfather, and his life is just utter crap. He lives in a trailer, and the only piece of hope that he has to hold on to is, I guess, what he would consider his girlfriend. And they're basically they're trying to escape this life that they're in, the cards that they've been dealt. And it was pretty cool because most of the crew consists of people who worked on NCIS New Orleans, so that was pretty cool getting to meet all of them. Hopefully, fingers crossed that they consider me for a role. And we're hoping to get that film into some really good film festivals. And we're very happy with the finished product. And that for right now is it.
Sounds like you've been busy, which is good.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, no, I can imagine. Having never spoken to an actor as young as yourself, for you right now, what's the most rewarding thing about being an actor?
Most people would say getting on set, booking that amazing role, but I think the most rewarding thing is just what comes after, depending on the project. If it's something along the lines of Stranger Things, you get into all these sci-fi horror conventions and you get to meet all these amazing fans of the show and, just see how much it's appreciated. And I think that's really rewarding, just knowing that people want to meet you. And it's like, whoa, okay, cool.
Well, cool, man. Thanks again for everything.
All right. Well, thank you.
You know how we do, I'm just two-step, drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money, oh man, two-step, posted with the crew, yeah, you know how we do.
Hey, two-stepping, know what I'm saying, 1, 2, 1, 2, Benjamin, aka the Black T, you know what I'm saying, catch me with my crew every day, two-step, phone in my other hand, like, hello? Oh, get into the money, man. Yeah.